the least, enjoyable thing about being on for a week for you?
I think just waiting is the hardest thing. I mean, I think the layoff has helped us in many ways. It's allowed Christy to improve a lot. I think that's the first thing. I think we had enough other nagging bumps and bruises at the end of the season that they appreciated some extra days off. We kind of spaced it out. We took 2 days, practiced 2 days, took another day off. I think it's worked out well. We've had good scrimmages. Would I have preferred it to be 2 days shorter? Maybe, but it's been okay. It's been fine for our team.
What were your takeaways from last night's game?
Let's see. This is family TV. So what I said to myself was, "Wow." The ending of the game was about as crazy as you'll see. Beyond that, I don't know. Both teams made mistakes, and I guess the one that didn't make the last mistake at the end won or got lucky on a shot. I don't know which, but survive and advance no matter who you are. I think both coaches, saw their teams do great things and saw their teams make some mistakes. And at playoff time, we've preached to our team. Teams that make fewer mistakes but stay aggressive usually come out, ahead. And so I think what I took from as much as anything is that's a good learning lesson for our team about the kinds of things you have to think about at the ends of games. And so, hopefully, somebody else taught us a good lesson.
They're one of the few teams that has actually beaten you here, although you weren't at full strength. Is there anything you can take from that game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought up until middle of the second half we had played really good basketball without Elena. We just didn't play very well in the fourth quarter, and we fouled them too much. They flop a lot, they grimace a lot, and they get some calls. I think what we need to learn is, A, don't foul and put them on the free throw line. They shoot the most free throws of any team in the league. They sell a lot of free throws to people, so I'm hoping that their salesmanship is not as good in the playoffs. But I think you have to execute. I think you have to rebound against them. It comes back, this is a really basic series. You can't turn the ball over, you can't put them on the free throw line, and you have to keep them off the boards. And if you do those things, you give yourself a really good chance to win.
Do you take anything from last year's experience that's going to help you this year, or do you put last year aside and say this is brand new and it's another season?
Well, I think you draw on last year's experience about how little mistakes or what seemed like little details become really important. Making sure that you are in the right spots on a play at the end of a game, or making sure you block out on a free throw, or inbounding to the right person at the right time. I think all of those things you learn. That playoff games have slim margins. We've gotten very comfortable with a lot of big wins this year. Playoff games aren't going to be like that. So I think we can draw on that experience that we've been in those tight games in pressure on national television, and hopefully, the lessons we learned last year carry over.
It's been a while since you guys have played Vegas. How have the Aces improved? What concerns you when they do entering the series?
Well, I think obviously that they're the healthiest they've been in a while. I mean, after we played them, or right when we played them, Asia Wilson missed some games. She didn't play in that second half of the makeup game, and they've got the Erica Hamby going partly because of that. They've gotten her in more of a rhythm. They have done what we've done and played a bigger lineup, many more minutes. They added Epiphany Prince to the team since then, so they've added a shooter with playoff experience. Their end of their season was kind of up and down. I don't know what you take from it, because they lost some games you didn't think they would lose, and they won some big games when they were down. They won a game against LA late in the year where they were down big and came back and won. So I think a lot of their stuff is, their basic stuff is what we've seen all year, but they've added a few wrinkles over the last 3 weeks that, we've had a chance to study and practice for. And game one is, I guess, one of those ones where it's the first game of a chess match, and you go out and do the things you do best, and they'll do the things they do best, and then afterwards the two coaches both sit down and try to reevaluate, what you need to do differently in game two.
You said Christy's got
Coach, the momentum down the stretch of the regular season in terms of wins, how does that bode well for the team in terms of confidence?
Well, I think anytime you win, 16 out of 18 games, you should have a lot of confidence. That would be, the one thing that the break has kind of taken that rhythm away a little bit. Luckily, our scrimmages have been against guys who played physically against us, and we've asked them to. And so I think we were able to maintain a little bit of that same flow to the game. Until you go out and play the game, I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of rust, and they're going to have a little bit of fatigue. So it's a matter of which one of those kind of takes over in game one.
Mike, last week when you reached the final, you're playing a different home course, you're bouncing around. What does this place meant over the course of the season? What do you expect out of it?
Well, it's meant a lot. Our fans have been terrific. The noise factor is deafening to an opponent. Being 14-2 in this building, says a lot about what it's given us. At the start, it's still our skill level that has to be good to do that. But the fans have had a direct influence, I think, on the game, and it energizes your team from the start from the time you walk in the building.
You said that Christy's feeling better. Do you know yet if we're going to see her tomorrow night?
I think she'll probably play, but
Okay.
Until we go through shoot around tomorrow and warm up, I would guess that she's ready to play based on what I've seen the last couple days. I don't know that we'll start her because we've got a pretty good rhythm and try to ease her back into it. I think we might put a semi-minute limit on it, just kind of seeing how she plays. But she'll give us a real boost, I think, confidence-wise and energy-wise. And you put a player of that skill level back into your lineup, that helps a lot.
So would you still thinking of going with that big starting lineup?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Coach, we heard you mentioning about your team's improvement on the defensive rebounding throughout the year. How important is that going to be in this
It's
series?
huge. I mean, Pat Riley used to have a saying that says, "No rebounds, no rings," and I think that holds true. That if you can hold your own, you don't have to dominate the boards, but you have to be able to hold your own against a good rebounding team. Historically, Bill's always had great rebounding teams. I think they're the best defensive rebounding team in the league right now. You don't get a lot of second shots against that length, but you have to be a little bit more opportunistic, but you can't give them second shots because second shots are easier shots, and a lot of times they're free throw shots because people end up fouling them on offensive boards.
How would you? Oh, go ahead.
Defensively, you're going to be matching up against Liz and Wilson. Do you have a plan, or what is?
Well, we've had a plan all year, and we've done a pretty good job. I'm not going to tell you the plan. Let them figure it out tomorrow. But we've done a good job. I mean, LaToya is a great defensive center in our league. She's done a pretty good job against them. Elena and Wilson has been a great matchup all season. Two All-Stars going against each other. We'll see.
How would you describe your history as a coach in the WNBA playoffs?
Well, it depends. I mean, I've been in the playoffs a lot. We've won. I've lost in the finals 3 times. But there are a whole bunch of teams sitting home when you get to the finals too. So my second time in the finals, we were the best team in the league, and Lindsay Whalen in Connecticut got hurt in game 1 and barely played the rest of the series. So it's hard to judge. I mean, the fact that you keep getting there and you keep getting better. The thing for us, is we've had this team progress. So we lost in the semifinals 2 years ago. We lost in the finals last year, and we are back in the playoffs in the semifinals again. You just keep knocking at the door, and hopefully your experience and your skill improvement makes a difference this time around. We're a better team than we were a year ago. That doesn't guarantee anything, but we are a better team.
In that respect, though, expectations are so high for the team. How do you think you guys handled it this year, from running back at the beginning at the media day up until now? How do they embrace this moment knowing what's on the line?
Well, I think the proof in that is in the results. I mean, they've had a target on their back since the first day of the season. We've been in the favorite, or one of the co-favorites for a long time, and yet we've kept winning. I mean, when you win 16 out of 18 and you have 2 or 3, 5 or 6 game winning streaks, I would say our players have handled it well. They haven't gotten too high or too low. When we've lost a game, we've bounced back almost immediately, except for that one little stretch when Elena was out. And I just feel like they have a confidence about themselves because they trust each other to do their jobs. They trust each other to make shots. I don't think any one player on this team feels the pressure to win it all by themselves. even as good as Elena is, and she said it several times in the last few weeks, one of the reasons that, she's had a great season is she trusts her teammates to make plays. She's made great passes, and so I think that they feel like every night somebody else can step up and make a big play, and that's a nice, confident feeling to have going into a playoff series.
What would you like to say to the fans that maybe is still on the fence about purchasing a ticket to tomorrow's game?
Well, if they're on the fence very long, they're going to be left out because they better get on the phones today and order their tickets or online. We're going to sell out most of this playoffs, so I think if they want tickets, they better start going. Otherwise, they'll be talking to the scalpers outside.